Welcome back to our 100-day challenge, and thank you for being here. We're going to follow up yesterday's standing and upper body warm-up with some continued lower body work. So use a couple minutes to warm up your upper body before we begin, if you need to. So we're going to begin in the lunge position, one leg forward, back heel reaching towards the ground, lifting up the torso and head tall, pulling the elbows and arms back. So we're trying to engage the upper back, keeping the ribs pulled down, flattening the abdomen. We can interlace the fingers behind the head as we do this to help really isolate the upper back. And then after we have been there a moment, we'll start to rotate over that front leg. So turning the direction of the leg that's in front. So we're introducing a little rotation in the spine as well. And then let's just straighten the arms for a breath. Reach out through the arms. Feel how it looks so much easier than it is, but it uses the whole body all at once. We come back to the middle. These still or isometric things are really good at warming up the body. They're very safe. And then we'll step back up to feet together, hip width. Oh, yeah. So from the last video, complete the other side. So pause the video, do the other side with the same lunge, and then we're going to move into the standing lifted knee, pressing down with the palm, reaching the opposite arm up. Pressing firmly into the hand, reaching tall, and then reach that knee backwards. Oh yeah, here we are. So here we are with the opposite leg forward. If you just did it, you get a chance to do it again. It'll feel actually easier this time. Reaching the arms out, long, bending the elbows, pulling the elbows back in this sort of goalpost position. The back heel's anchored down. We're sitting the hips downward, making the legs work, keeping them strong, pushing the ground away. Feeling the hips and the glutes working a bit to hold you up. And then we'll start to rotate the body. We can interlace the fingers behind the head, as we did before. When you're breathing in, you lift up tall through your head. Try to be very upright. When you exhale, turn just another quarter inch, half inch. Inhaling, reaching through the back heel, through the head, out through the elbows. Exhaling, turning more, and then here opening the elbows, reaching out through the fingers. This may feel very uncomfortable when you start doing it. It's so good for the whole body. We are leg focused today, lower body focus. So we started with these isometric, these still postures, which there are many of in Qigong, Bawa. Now we'll make the feet double hip wide and we'll circle the back. Circle the hips, hands on the low back. Many of you know how to do this, but we're just placing the hips on the end, on the edge of a record and letting it circle around the world. Smooth circle, not in the lips, no cut off sides, no corners. And then we're putting the hands on the hips and we are rotating the pelvis. So on its own axis versus rotating the hips, we're just rocking the pelvis on its axis. Forward and back, left and right, both directions. So now we've warmed up some of these ligaments around the hips. Let's do a slow turn. We're going to be turning the hips, pushing the back leg to reach the front shoulder as if we were going to be reaching the arm out. The arms stay down, but you want to have this feeling of extending to the whole body, from the legs up through the upper body. This is like our arm swings, but slower. It has the best name. It's called Constant Bear. It's used as a back rehab, but for this, we'll always revisit this idea of turning the waist, turning the hips as the engine to our motion, freeing and mobilizing the hips. This is part of that. We're using the feet on the ground to push through and turn the hips, stretching the SI joint, the back of the hips and the ribs. Great exercise. Now we'll make the feet triple wide, and we're gonna sit down and up a couple times. So squeezing the feet together, sitting the hips back, not the knees forward. After we've warmed up with a couple up and downs, we're gonna anchor our palms down on our thighs, push down and circle the spine around the world. So like the handle of a big wooden spoon in a pot of witch's brew or something like that. That's being stirred slowly. Our whole spine is reaching away from our hips. Our head's reaching away from our hips. Hands are helping that. And it's circling forward as we exhale, circling back to the top as we inhale. Other direction. Just continue at your own breathing pace. Going slow, thinking of elongation more than how far you've been forward. Keep the feet and the legs active and strong. Don't just collapse into them. This is a lot of leg work. It's a great start to your day. You'll notice all day long your balance feels different. You feel more steady on your feet. So put in the work here. Bring the feet back to shoulder width. And let's do our constant bear again. See if it doesn't feel a little different. Yeah, you'll feel more freedom in your back. Turning slowly, starting from pushing the feet, letting the hips turn. Upper body responds. And even circling the hips again. It's great to revisit an exercise after you've done a couple other moves and pay attention to how it feels, because we're building our body-mind right now. We have an intellectual mind, a thinking mind, emotional mind. What we're building is our intelligence of our body, our sensation. Let's do the Phoenix stretch. So the back leg turns out 45 degrees. The front leg is straight but unweighted. So we're not leaning on that heel. We just have the weight of the leg on its own foot. And we're keeping a relatively straight back, and we're hinging at the hip. Hinging at the hip, not rounding the back. That's what this teaches us. We're pressing through that back heel, reaching out the top of the head, so you'll feel stretch all on the leg and the back. Good. Switch sides. Once you get here, guess what? You've got to breathe. Breathing is the exercise here. A stretch without breathing doesn't do anything but get set up in the position and then inhale, filling the back and the belly, lifts you up a bit. Exhale, hinge forward, sink. Good boy. Here's a view from the front. We get to add a little, back to the first side, add another element. Grab opposite elbows, reach an elbow forward, and that'll really intensify where you're feeling this. Imagine you're going to touch the toes with the elbow. I hope it happens for you. It's not going to for me today. But we're alternating back and forth, reaching through the whole side, back, ribs. Switch sides. Things like this start to remedy our ever constantly weak backs, because we don't climb things anymore. We don't, all the complaints you hear, we just live in a forward position. Things like this start to undo some of that tension that sort of traps the back of our body, weakens it. Oh yeah, we're going for another round here. Third variation. The opposite hand as the front leg pierces downward. The back hand reaches up behind us, puckering the fingers. into what's affectionately called the chicken head. We'll switch sides and we will swap hands. Front hand pierces down, the back hand reaches up. The chicken's on the prowl. You got to breathe here too. A lot of mental stuff, a lot of physical stuff happening. You did great. This was a hard one. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here with us. Keep it going. Have a great day.